Hello, and thank you for coming. My name is Daemon Behr, and I work for Scalar Decisions. We are a national Canadian integrator that focuses on cloud infrastructure and security. My area of practice is around infrastructure, primarily converged infrastructure and virtualization. So today I'm going to talk to you about the different deployment options that you have if you decide to go down the road of deploying OpenStack on a hyperconverged infrastructure. So before I dive right into why you would want to do that or the different options, let's first have a quick look at how OpenStack integrates with a software-defined data center. So the key benefit that you get from running OpenStack is that it provides developers and DevOps teams with access to infrastructure resources that allows them to provision, do code updates, scale up and scale down of the resources that they have. A lot of these resources are mass, so you don't actually care what's in the underlying components. The key things that you need to have are the basic functionality. So that's why there's so many different solutions around hardware, hypervisors. It's hypervisor agnostic. You're able to run a vSphere, KVM, and even Hyper-V for OpenStack. So the key point that I want to point out in this slide is the scale up and scale down, or the elasticity of the infrastructure. And that's important to hyperconvergence because of its capability of doing that. Now, if we look at the hyperconverged solutions that are out there in the industry right now, there's a number of different players with their differentiation. Nutanix has by far been the leader in this. VMware has come out with Evo Rail and will soon come out with Evo Rack, which is definitely a very valid and strong solution. There's also SimpliVity, which has their solution, and Maxta, which also has theirs. Now, in the interest of time for this presentation, I'm actually just going to focus on two of the solutions. That will be Nutanix and VMware solution, which is Evo Rail. So first off, with Nutanix, Nutanix has been around for nearly half a decade now, and they have a very mature offering. For large-scale deployments, Nutanix has been able to scale out to hundreds of nodes. I believe they've even done several deployments that are thousands of nodes in scale. So very, very large scalability, but also on the smaller side, if you wanted to have a very small deployment, they have also come out with a community edition so that you don't actually have to pay the licensing for the solution. You get a 4-node cluster that you can run for free, which gives you all the same features that you would with the enterprise or paid-for solution. There's also open APIs for integrating or doing provisioning of various components of the infrastructure. So you can use the REST APIs and have automation through Heat or through some other means in order to provision resources, manage resources, integrate with the Prism GUI, and so forth. Also, another key feature about Nutanix is that you have the multi-hypervisor support, so you can actually run KVM, vSphere, Hyper-V on the infrastructure. And you can actually have various hypervisors set up so that each one of them has a CVM, which basically manages the hardware. So you can mix the hypervisors on the back end and still have a clustered file system. So there's several different node types that you can use depending on the type of solution that you're actually deploying, which this is interesting because it allows you to have multiple hardware platforms that you can use for various things. One of the very useful things that you can get out of this is that if you decide to run Swift on bare metal, you'll get better performance than you will if you run it as a virtual machine. And you can spin up bare metal machines that are dedicated specifically to Swift so that you can have that high performance object level storage. And it's very, very easy to scale out. You have a standard interface in order to provision new nodes, and it's all managed from a centralized interface. So OpenStack on Nutanix works very well, and it's a very good fit for it because of a number of different things. Because of the multi-hypervisor support, the open APIs, the ability to scale up, and also to go in at a very, very small level. If you had a 2U appliance, you could have a 2U OpenStack appliance that gives you 4 nodes and all the capabilities that you need for a proof of concept. Now let's have a look at EvoRail and also EvoRack. We won't delve into EvoRack too much, but I'll just focus on EvoRail. EvoRail is a very, very simplified deployment. You can deploy the entire infrastructure in about 15 minutes with no prior knowledge of the infrastructure whatsoever. So it's very, very easy to hand to people that need to get the infrastructure up and running without running them through a long training session or a long life cycle involving lots of different people. It has a validated architecture which has many, many vendor partners that work with it. So if you have your infrastructure running on a Dell or HP or EMC or so on, you can continue to use that same hardware and have the EvoRail version that goes along with that. So VMware also came out with their distribution of OpenStack, which is called the VMware Integrated OpenStack, or VIO. Now with VIO, it has links into vSphere and vCenter and the vRealize suite, so you can get at the benefits of automation, performance analysis, and you have a standard framework which you can manage the infrastructure. So if you have an existing VMware infrastructure, especially if you're running Enterprise Plus, then you automatically get access over to the VMware Integrated OpenStack, and you get full support from VMware on that deployment as well. So the combination of using a VMware Integrated OpenStack with an EvoRail solution is a very, very good fit. They work really well together, and there's a lot of flexibility on that part. One other thing that isn't in the marketing material too much, and you won't hear about that often, because I guess VMware hasn't pushed it, is that VMware Integrated OpenStack does not only just support Hyper-V, they can also support KVM as, yeah, so they support vSphere, KVM, and Hyper-V. They don't publish this, but you can actually work with the OpenStack team, and they'll work with you in order to get it up and running. I don't think that there is currently a reference architecture for this, but as more customers demand multiple hypervisors, you will be able to gain access to that. VMware also works with many different of the OpenStack vendors that are in the ecosystem right now, such as Canonical, Mirantis, Red Hat, and so on. So if you decide that you don't want to go with VMware Integrated OpenStack, you still have the full support of all these other distributions into the various components of vSphere. So OpenStack has a number of main projects which are listed over here. Nova, which is the compute portion of it, that allows the management of the hypervisor itself. So you can manage vSphere, Hyper-V, KVM, and so forth. And I'll just skip through some of these other ones over here so we can have a look at the actual integration components and how it looks like. Cinder will provide you with your block storage. So you can run a virtual machine that provides access over to your Cinder block storage, and that'll run on top of NDFS. If you want to run Swift for your object storage, again, you can have that run as a virtual machine, or you can have a dedicated a node specifically for that if you're running the Nutanix platform. If you're running the EvoRail, unfortunately, there's no bare metal for that at this time, but if you want to expand that out and do bare metal, you could get a similar type of hardware architecture that you're currently using, because the vendors are all pretty well standard for Dell, HP, and so forth, so that you can get that bare metal, and you can use Ironic in order to deploy directly to that. So you have the capability to go out to bare metal. So containers. Containers are all the rage right now, and VMware came into the news a little while ago with their release of Photon and Lightwave, which allows you to use containers from Docker, Rocket, Garden, and so forth. So you have a container architecture that you can use for all those different platforms. And that integrates very well with the VMware integrated OpenStack, as well as the heat orchestration and so forth. You still have the capability to use Kubernetes or a Mesosphere or other technologies, and VMware will also support that as well. So in the end, what's the best technology to pair with OpenStack? These are some things that you need to think of. The total cost of ownership, manageability, security, support, where you're actually going to get your support from, and how easy is it to scale up and go from concept to deployment. So just some final thoughts is, do you want to build net new or use existing infrastructure? And this will really determine what kind of environment you have, and it will affect some other considerations, such as what is your timeline to production? Do you want something that needs to be up and running in 2 weeks, or is it something that's going to be more of a longer strategy for the organization, which might involve much bigger conversations? Another key consideration is what technical resources do you have dedicated to your OpenStack project? Do you have key people that are on the infrastructure side, cloud ops side, as well as the DevOps team, or do you have limited resources which you would probably be more along the lines to use an integrated solution, such as the VMware integrated OpenStack on Evo Rail or so forth? And the last thing is, are you building legacy applications or cloud-native applications? Are you trying to put applications that require a 3E-tier architecture, or are you actually using microservices and a cloud-native technology so that you can scale out as opposed to scale up and down? If you are using the traditional application infrastructure, then you're going to be limited by the capabilities of that, and it's not necessarily as conducive to the environment of OpenStack itself. So thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate you coming to the presentation.